So the concept of postvention is all about containing the crisis after a suicide occurs, kind of smoothing things out, making sure that people have resources, and that we avoid contagion. Contagion is when we would experience multiple suicides after each other for certain reasons. And so postvention is all about that. Post-suicide, how can we provide care? So the postvention guide was kind of created. There's these really amazing toolkits that have been heavily researched and made for workplaces, for K-12, for college spaces to say when a suicide occurs, this is how the college or the workplace or whatever should react. Here's some best practices, here's some templates. And what I realized when our colleges were experiencing suicide in South Dakota, most of the time they didn't really know about these tools, but if they did know about these tools, it's a 65-page plus document. When you're in the midst of a crisis, that's not the thing that's going to be the most actionable, even though it's the best information out there. And so what we really did was try to make that more actionable and take some of the pieces out of those guides, maybe reword some things, and really make it an actionable guide for people if they were in the midst of a crisis. So it's actually split into 3 areas. There's planning. So if you are in a space where maybe you've experienced a suicide death on your campus before, or you know that this is a policy and protocol that you need to update, kind of how you would go across that planning process when you're not necessarily in the midst of a crisis. So there's that piece of it. And then there's also a crisis piece of if somebody died by suicide yesterday and we don't have the policies and procedures in place and we need to know what to do, kind of the first ABC steps on this is who you contact, this is what you do right away, and has that piece in there. And then the last piece is kind of about evaluation. So whether you have experienced a suicide death on campus and you want to evaluate maybe your policies and procedures that you already have in place, or you experienced one recently or you experienced one a long time ago, how do we kind of evaluate our process to update that document to make sure that we have the most comprehensive plan and that things aren't getting missed? Because every single time that this occurs, which we hope that it's not often, but when it does, that's an opportunity to stop and look and say, the faculty and staff involved, do they have better ideas on how to handle this? Were there things that we missed? Were there things that went, terribly wrong? Was there ways that people didn't feel supported? And how can we change that and update that so it's the best living document possible? So for us, we got funding through the state RFP through House Bill 1079 to work in the college space. That's what Lost&Found is most known for. And the rate of suicide is higher. It is the leading cause of death for our young people in the state of South Dakota. And so that is why Lost&Found focuses our work there. And this work is to support students, but ultimately we're working with faculty and staff. This postvention work will support students, will support faculty and staff, and it's just overall better practice on how to support that work or how to support when a suicide occurs on a college campus. The goal with these postvention guides is to work with all of our schools, specifically our college campuses across the state of South Dakota, to update their postvention policies and procedures to make sure that they have a well-rounded plan. I think what expands this work and makes it more desirable for campuses is that this is not just about suicide death, it's about any death that would occur. Most schools are going to have some sort of death protocol in place, whether that's a student death protocol or a faculty's death protocol. And so it expands for both, because we know that a suicide death shouldn't necessarily be treated much different than a regular death. We still want people to have resources and care. People are grieving no matter what. And so this will help them kind of make that part of their emergency action plans or their emergency management plans more robust, so that we're making sure that people are taken care of. And hopefully we can work with all of the schools across our great state to make sure that they have those comprehensive plans. And hopefully it's something they never have to use, but it's something that can help them breathe a little bit easier, that they have a plan in place and they know what to do if it does happen.